All right, well, let's see what we can do to add something to my little art journals here. I'm going to use some of the bits and pieces here that I have. Make sure you print. I believe you need to use laser copies to make sure that the paint or the ink of the image doesn't come off. So I have a couple. You know what? I like this one. I think that one will go really nicely on this page. What do you think? So I'm going to put this here. I also, left over from my scrapbooking days, I have all these like little bits and pieces. So, you know, I did pull some of this out in advance to be prepared for this. Otherwise, I can spend an hour just trying to figure out what I'm going to use. So what am I using as my adhesive? A heavy gel matte. Instead of matte medium, I am using a heavy gel matte instead of the fluid one. And I found the reason why I like to use this is because it doesn't, my papers don't buckle because it's not as wet. It's more of a paste. Now, if I can find a crappy old brush, that one's pretty old because I don't want to use up my good ones because look, that one's already, half of it is already stiff and ruined. So I am going to cut this out so it looks a little bit more closely replicated to the original. I find going and getting my stuff printed is faster and cheaper than trying to print at home when I have PDF images and whatnot. So that's one option as well. It's really hard when you're doing collage and the papers always buckle. That's why I found that this is my favorite solution. I have a huge bucket of it and I just keep filling this little one up. So look, I put some of this adhesive here. And then I'm turning this one over. I don't mind that it's on top of this because if you get this heavy medium on your page, it just dries as if it was paint. There we go. And now I'm putting a coat on top. There we go. Excellent. And oh, and look, I saved these. This is somebody's business card from when I ordered something. So I save things like that. Here's some other fun things that I like to have on hand. This is like tape, that fancy washi tape, and it's got architectural bits on it. And since I'm all about architectural stuff, and the adhesive is heavy gel matte medium, so heavy instead of fluid. That's really what it ends up being. So I'm starting to add layers, and I'm really not planning it out too much because I really want it to be more intuitive. This needs thick gel, which means it's going to need to dry for a while before you close the pages. That's why you have to make more than one art journal, right? So you let this one dry and go starting on the next one. Here was another thing that I have on hand I wanted to show you. I told you I'm a hoarder, right? Well, a hoarder of good stuff at least. These are little stamps, and they're all from France as well. Let's get that in there because I liked the colors of that right off the bat. Check those out. You can go on Etsy to find any of this stuff. Sometimes I don't get a chance to bring stuff back, but if I want more ephemera, vintage stuff, stamps and letters and postcards, you can actually search for it on Etsy and you can find the most lovely things. I do look for originals and not copies of stuff because once I got a packet of copied images and they were not on good quality and the color just came off when I tried to use it. So buy originals or digital copies that you can print yourself, but originals are fun, right? Let's see what else can we add into this. I'm going to go ahead. I stamped on, this is a deli page, and it was actually a craft color deli paper. Go figure, and that's a stamp that I designed myself. I know that none of this really coordinates. As long as it looks right, I'm happy. There we go. We've got something going on, a little story happening. I'm going to let it dry, and I think I might write a few words about travel right there. There we go. There's an Eisenhower stamp. That's that's kind of cool. One from Spain. Oh, I had another piece I wanted to use. Do you ever buy cool things from makers? Handmade things that makers send me always have like really cool packaging. So that's why I save things like the packaging. Like I bought some pins, some like little cute enamel pins, and I got all these cute little bits. So I like to add that to my journal. I wanted to show you what I like to do when I'm doing the art journaling. Sometimes I use bubble wrap, or this is like a foam, piece of craft foam with texture on. So that's the one I'm going to use right now. And I'm just going to put a little bit of paint on this just plain white gesso because I don't want much color. I'm doing this spontaneously. And then I'm going to roll this out with my brayer. You have to have a brayer if you're an artist. It just is such a perfect multi-tool. And I'm rolling it here to get some paint on here. And then I'm not going to do it on the whole thing, but right up to the edge of her. And that just kind of pulls it all together. I think it's kind of a fun effect. If you get too much, you can always rub some of it back, get a baby wipe. So it's kind of pulling it all together. Now I've got more texture on my page. All right, so I've gotten a little further on this. I'm not going to spend my whole day finishing every page for you, but I hope it's enough inspiration so that you can work on an art journal yourself. All right.